And welcome into Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. We're a couple of games into the preseason, and the Boston Bruins, as we sit and record this show, are now 1-1 after a 4-2 win over the Washington Capitals, the Ovechkin-less Capitals, and other players-less Capitals on Tuesday night. Before we get into a couple of things here, we want to remind you that Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor podcast is presented by the people at Fazenda. Fazenda Coffee is just a phenomenal place. Go check out fazendacoffee.com. And Fazenda Coffee Roasters is the trusted partner for cafes, bakeries, and restaurants. With their expertly roasted specialty coffee, they help businesses elevate their menus and offer an unforgettable coffee experience. They are just tremendous with the variety they have. From fresh beans to full equipment support, Fazenda is here to make sure your customers keep coming back for more. Again, fazendacoffee.com/wholesale to learn how Fazenda can help your business stand out. Razor, you and I continue to thank Fazenda for being a lead sponsor for our show. All right, back at it. We were tieless again on the set. We watched the Bruins take it to the Washington Capitals in a game that the best thing about the game, Razor, was that the young guys that needed to step up stepped up. We're just going to touch on a few things here with this short Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor, and it'll be a lot about the young guys and what we think could happen with some of the, I guess, the positions that are available. Your thoughts as you watched Fabian Lysell, Georgi Merkulov, what other young guys, Mathew Poitras, play, anybody else you want to throw in there, and their performance, and just, again, we're literally just the first week into camp, but what a good performance in game 2 does for those players.
Yeah, it keeps them in the mix, right? Like it's kind of like the golf tournament adage where you can't win the job in the first day or 3 days of training camp, but you can kind of find your way out of the mix, or at least put yourself way behind, because there's just not enough time. There's not enough preseason games. At some point, the veterans, they've decided already what games they want to play when they're playing. So those spots get dried up right away. And if you don't put a good performance in early on, you kind of get left behind. You get left out, and you end up going to Providence a lot quicker than you want to. So the good news of tonight's game is that the guys that we expected to be in the mix, for whatever spots there are, if there's any, right? Like there's also no guarantee that there's any spots. If you move Poitras to a right wing, you move Geekie to a right wing, you put Frederick, and like there could technically be no spots for some of these guys, but it keeps it competitive, and they themselves personally go home tonight and feel, okay, I still have a chance to make this team. And as a young guy, that's really what camp's about, is keeping the hope and the excitement through it alive.
So of those 3 players that I mentioned, because Poitras, Merkulov, and Lysell, they're all basically competing for the same spot, right? I mean, they are. It's like one spot and 3 guys competing for it. Who? Boy, this is probably maybe an unfair question. Is there one that did more for themselves in the game against the Caps? We said this on the Nest and Set, by the way. The game against the Rangers, the first one, was everybody's first game in forever, right? Yeah. I mean, and, there was a lot of talk about, well, Lysell didn't do this and Merkulov didn't do that. But, they're also playing for the first time, and we were talking about everybody's first game. Not a lot of chemistry. There's energy, but it's kind of haphazard. So there's a lot more settled into kind of feel in this game on Tuesday night. So of those guys, they were all settled in. Who do you think helped themselves the most?
Well, I think Poitras kind of separate. I think they can put him in the lineup a little bit differently. I think he still has to continue, but I think when you're talking, it's Lysell and Merkulov. Those are the 2 guys that really, and it's probably Lysell because it's a first-round pick. He hasn't played an NHL game before. There's a lot around that, and so the fact that they kind of called, Monty didn't call him out. Like it's not like a call out mid-season of David Pasternak or in the playoffs. Like this is like
He was asked about
his
it.
matter of fact, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you said matter of fact, Brick said matter of fact. It was like this is where he's got to go, and he did that. So out of the three, I kind of put Poitras to the side. I put Lysell ahead, quote unquote, because of the goal that he scored and just they also, right, like the game that they have, the coaches love taking moments and love being able to coach and force players into having good performances. And I think both guys did a good job of that. But Lysell, I would say, by a hair tonight, let's say.
He had more jump. I thought, we talked about it on the air and post game. The pace was very noticeable, at least to me, incredibly noticeable. Like you can skate fast, but not do a lot. He did stuff with the puck. He separated himself. He created space for his teammates. First period, he didn't get shots through. He had 2 attempts that were blocked or deflected, whatever. Second period, besides the goal, he had another one that got through. So it was like the quicker release. It was on net. I thought that he had more noticeable jump, more noticeable pizzazz to his game. Nothing fancy, nothing flashy, but just a direct game as it went going, which was great. Merkulov looked to have the puck on his stick more to me. Made the real nice pass to Justin Brazeau. Nice to see Brazeau back out there, and the nice backhand goal from him in the third period. But Merkulov did some good things, corralling the puck, controlling it. He's one of those guys that isn't going to beat you with his speed so much as he's going to beat you with just kind of his headiness, thinking ahead, controlling the puck, etc., controlling perhaps hit the pace of the shift when he's out there. So he was better too. But I'm with you. I think that Fabian Lysell, for this day, for this night, showed himself well, probably gave himself that other little tick, little check mark, so to speak, next. Now, wouldn't surprise me. The Bruins play Thursday on the road, Saturday on the road. It wouldn't surprise me if he played in both of those games, at least one, if not both.
I would expect so. I would expect they're gonna run these guys because again, these are 2 games that there won't be a lot of veterans in these 2 games on the road. You expect the veterans to really hit the ground running Tuesday night at the Garden. So you're going to see a lot of the same guys, and you're going to expect them to continue to build on whatever they did tonight and whatever they did through camp to this point. So certainly a younger person late in lineup coming up the next couple nights too.
Looking at Mathew Poitras, how comfortable do you feel that he would be playing wing at the NHL level regularly this year if he had to?
Oh no, I mean it's so much easier. So yeah, I think again, a lot of talk on center to wing. It's just it is a lot easier, and the fact that they understand the system of center as well within this Bruins, that gives a lot of comfort to everyone, and that gives you a little bit of an inside track as well because. Again, there was points tonight. A lot of times, like you broke down one of the intermissions where the winger ends up being the centerman, and if you know exactly how to play that, it gives the coaches so much more comfort that he can go down and play low and break out and defend however he needs to. So again, I think that because of how much he played in the NHL last season, I know he has he can go to the minors and play. I think I think what he's done and the fact that he has always been an NHL player, even though it's a short stint, that has him in a position where they'll find a roster spot for him in the lineup if he continues to keep his level up. And again, he hasn't played in 9 months. Like all of these things, he should build the way he played tonight. I think they have to be very happy. He has to be very happy of how he looked after not playing and having shoulder surgery in 9 months.
Yeah, didn't look passive at all. Didn't look tentative.
Looked a little bigger, looked a little more sturdy, I thought.
Yep.
Simple thing.
There's a lot of talk about the 10 pounds that he put on, and I think, the question is, will he be able to keep that on once he gets into a season? I don't know. We'll see how the body composition is. Off season, it's a lot easier in the sense you're working out a lot and everything, but you're eating differently, you're training.
Everybody's gained 10 pounds, right? Like everybody can put
Yeah.
weight on. Like it's easy, you go to the nutritionalist, you go to the weight guy. I need to put 15. Here you go. Like
Right.
It's a million protein shakes all summer. Like
right. Or if you're a broadcaster, it's
a
lot of extras,
pizzas.
3 desserts, and it's an extra beverage. And as I said on the air, I don't know what's so everybody's making a big deal about somebody putting on 10 pounds over the summer. I mean, geez, I could do that in a month, no problem, and not get applauded for it though. I think though he can do it. I do, and I'm not going to get ahead of myself let's not get ahead of ourselves here. There's a long runway to go still here in this lead up to the season, but his headiness, I think, allows him to play the position well. He's elusive. He does every once in a while. He gets caught. He gets caught turning, and we've seen him get throttled a few times. In one of them last year, I think helped exacerbate that shoulder issue that he was having that led eventually to shutting him down. But he's gonna, if he continues to play with the same smarts, which is really his calling card. I mean, his smarts and his elusiveness are, then I think he can transition to wing if need be. And Frederick wing center, Poitras wing center, Geeky wing center wing. Who else am I forgetting? I mean, there's got to. I'm guessing Beecher, right? Center wing. Mark Kastelik, center wing, probably more center, but we're learning that he could play, or hearing some wing. That's some nice opportunity for versatility from your guys up front. It presents an awful lot of what we would call lineup versatility.
And that's where it kind of clicked. Like there's zero chance Lysell or Merkulov are cracking this lineup at center. They're wings. There's no doubt. There's nothing. So that's where those guys are a little bit different. And in the fact that they have, I mean, Merkulov played a couple games, but that was a short stint, and they're wingers. So that's where they're at that, I wouldn't say a disadvantage. It's just a different look.
Yeah, it is. Now, I do think that if a natural right winger like Lysel Razor, if he could really shine in this preseason and be his quote unquote, natural scorer self, that would, I think, give him an advantage.
Yep.
Perhaps, because that slots in perfectly to what they need, but ... There's still, a lot of other stuff that he needs to do. And it's going to be interesting. I mean, look, and we're talking about young guys, but how about the other guy, Tyler Johnson, that ends up being in the roster? Guy who's just turned 35 or 34, pushing 35, as you brought up during the show. Won Stanley Cups 2 in a row. Boy, he came out. He was an undrafted player out of Spokane, played in the Western Hockey League. He was one of the top rookie of the year up for the Calder when he had 50 points. The next year, he had over 70 points. He's never hit that number again, but 3 times in his career, he's had 50 or more points. He played on a very deep team in Tampa for a while. Last couple of years, been in Chicago, had a neck issue where he had to have the same surgery that Jack Eichel did recently, but now he's back. And, you're looking at him. I know people have said this. You said it. Adam, everybody, Brick said it, talked about, could he be this year's Danton Heinen type of thing? I mean, yeah, why not? I mean, if you're going to go to a team like a guy like Tyler Johnson, who doesn't need to do it all, just play, just go out and play. Why not? He could provide an absolute opportunity or option for this team.
Yeah, exactly. And again, he certainly didn't play himself out of anything tonight. He had a really nice game. His benefit of the doubt, and we've kind of run through all of these guys and how they all have a little bit of an advantage in different ways, is the fact that he's a veteran guy, and Montgomery and the coaching staff are going to have full trust in whatever he does and wherever he's playing. There's going to be no question. The question is, can he, continue as an older guy to keep up with the young guys? And it looked like he did that today. Can he do it through the rest of camp? Because again, he's going to get a lot of games and a lot of looks. But that's his benefit, is that they're trusting him and they believe in him. And again, GMs typically like younger guys, coaches typically like older guys. That's how it works in the National Hockey League, and it's about just proving it and showing it as one of those kind of guys.
And no matter what, whether it's Tyler, Georgie, Fabian, they're all coming, relatively speaking, cheap. They're all coming in under
That's
$1
right.
million.
Yeah, they're all the same.
Yeah, they're all the same. Tyler hasn't signed a contract. He's on a PTO. My guess is if he makes it, it's a 1 year, 775, 800, whatever. I mean, that's what it ends up being. And I think he would embrace that with this opportunity to play for this team. Before we talk about our sponsors, I just tell me what, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, we're 5, 6 days into camp, right? I mean, that's what we are. They had 1 day off yesterday. What are the guys feeling now? What's, I mean, if you're a veteran, I guess, put yourself into their, shoes. What are their skates? What's going through their minds right now?
Yeah, the veteran guys are starting to get antsy. They're through. They're looking forward to the normalcy, and they can kind of see it. They've worked hard. They've put their first 5 or 6 days in, but they're also okay. Let's get going. Let's get our dressing room back in order. Let's not have the 2 skates. Let's not have separation. So they're looking forward to. They're probably all again staring at the Tuesday night. They're all looking kind of next Monday when there's going to be cuts and it's going to start. You're going to get down to at least 1 ice session. That's the big one. Guys don't like going in and out and not seeing each other. Like, it feels really odd.
Yeah.
And again, it's fun the first couple days, but by now they're kind of at that point where they don't like seeing what session they're in and trying to figure out their schedule. Are they in the early skate, the late skate? Just get down to 1 skate, the usual 10:30 time, the usual 11 time, and get moving. So those guys are starting to get antsy of normalcy. And then the young guys are trying to keep their energy levels up and keep the not allowing themselves to let up, despite the fact they're in the hotel every day and they're living really monotonously and they kind of want somewhere to live, but they're trying to stay focused on playing all these preseason games. And the one benefit they have, right, and we saw Washington tonight, like they haven't had to travel. So they've had a really easy 2 games at the Garden, no random rinks, no random travel schedules. And that's where these next 2 games are really a mental strength type thing. And the coaches love it. They love using these travel day of games and like getting behind. Typically you're losing 4-1 and you can really see the characters, some of these younger guys. So that's what they really got to cook here the next 4 days. So the older guys are looking forward to the 4 days being over because then it's getting to normal. The young guys are looking forward to the 4 days being over if they get through it and do well.
What's the rule of thumb usually for home games if you're not playing? Do you have to attend? I haven't even thought about that. And I know it's probably different team to team, but I would imagine that you don't have to attend.
No, a lot of times they would have the young guys have to go. I remember that for some reason, like driving down from Wilmington to go to the games and sit there. But typically you don't have to. They're just too many bodies. There's just too many people this time of year. And certainly David Pasternak's not sitting on the 9th floor watching that game in the Garden.
Right.
He has no idea what the score was of that game tonight. So he might not ever know. If he does, he might ask a trainer in the morning when he shows up to the rink.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Let's mention a couple of our sponsors here before I ask you a couple of other questions on This Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. David Pastrnak doesn't need to worry about a place to live because he is, I would say, set in the Boston area. He's got his big contract, and I'm sure he is all good real estate-wise. But a lot of other people aren't, including the young guys. And boy, they'd be smart to call up RTN Realty. Go to rtnrealty.com. Check it out. Chris Gentile and his staff his workforce guys. They'll take you all over. They'll show you everything you need. I mean, they've got places all over that they can show you, and not just to buy, but to lease as well. Go check out rtnrealty.com or email Chris Gentile directly. It's cgentile, Gentile, at rtnrealty.com, and for all your real estate needs. Now, if you already have a home and you want to fix it up, this is perfect. You know, we go from buying a place or selling it to now fixing it up, Razor. And you want to use Graciano Construction. And they are a lot in the Metro West area here in Massachusetts, but they'll do stuff in a lot of places, into Rhode Island, etc. You know, bathroom remodeling, kitchen remodeling, home additions, painting, even deck installation. Go to gracianoconstruction.com. Doug Graciano is somebody that I've personally known for a while. I've used him numerous times. Absolutely love him. Trust him implicitly. And this is the kind of guy that, you know, if you have a project, small or very large, again, they can do just about it all. Go to Graciano Construction and check them out. And finally, in tonight's show, Sparks Hockey, a sponsor that Razor and I are very much, I don't know about indebted to, but maybe we are a little bit, considering how much it saves us from having to run out Razor and get skate sharpened, and it keeps, you got 3 of them playing. And how much is Mace Man sharpening his skates now as a goalie? How much?
He's down there at least once a week, if not, you know, once at the start of the week and then once before the weekend. You know,
and how different is that than when you played? Because you probably sharpen your skates, unless you were different. Most goalies didn't sharpen their skates.
Yeah, back then we were told not to do so. So yeah, when I was his age, I was like once a month maybe, if we were lucky to get the old man to run us to the skate shop.
But now you can just use the Sparks.
Yeah, now he does himself.
Now it's just it's simple. Go to sparkshockey.com, check things out. They got all different wheels, different type of machines, either Gen 2 or Gen 3. They're awesome. Go check out sparkshockey.com. We thank RTN, Graciano Construction, and Sparks Hockey for supporting Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Jonas Korpisalo came out, started the game wearing number 70, looked clean in his setup. Got a nice new mask. Got to go see the mask now. Got to see what he's got on it. But the pads were primarily white, and they looked sharp. They looked pretty, you know, they hadn't been too, too scuffed up from pucks. But he came out and he played a beautiful half a game. I mean, again, just preseason, but I don't think Jonas Korpisalo could ask for a better start to his Bruins preseason career. His first shot on goal was a breakaway from the big kid Poitras, who came through. He kind of sliced through the Bruins D like butter, and he tried to go, was it short side, I think, and there was Korpisalo making the save. And then he had about 4 other really good saves out of, what was it, 7 shots that he faced?
Yeah, that would be the only negative, is that he probably wanted more work. Typically, if you're, you know, you go in there as a goaltender, you're playing half a game. You just want as much work as you can. You don't want to. You're not worried about goals. You just want to get some work, get a couple power plays against where you get the legs burning, all those kind of random things. So if anything, he's probably gone out of there saying, "Man, I wish I had got 10 more shots somewhere, a little more work, a little more sustained pressure." But again, he'll get that. You expect him to get a 60-minute next time out. So perfect start. I think from the Bruins side of things, with everything going on in the crease, it's a perfect one. Okay, we don't have any goalie news tomorrow. There's no the world is burning type situations with a bad goal or something like that. So for everybody's happy in that respect. But again, he's a National Hockey League guy. He looked exactly like an NHL goalie does, in that first 30 minutes, get my feet under me, make a couple saves, get to my spots, and then head out of there for the night. So really good job by him. Exactly what you would expect. And that's just a nice step for him into the NHL season.
I thought his movements were concise, sharp, and he had nice flow to it. I mean, that's again what, maybe I'm just throwing BS terms out there, but he didn't overplay. He didn't get outside his post. We showed a couple of those. He looked very efficient. Now, again, he didn't face Ovechkin out there, and
like that the two saves he made on the over on the left flank or for the goalie the right flank. That's Ovi's spot, right. So that's again that's or David Pasternak or so it's different. But again, you play up against what you are up against. So he did all of that, and again that's a really good start for him. Really good start, and he's going to continue to build through camp.
All right, we did a show a couple of days ago. I remember exactly when, but I said, I think the Swayman thing it'll get done. I'm thinking next week. Well, next week is here. We're almost the middle of the week. When this show comes out, it will be the middle of the week. Obviously, it's radio silence. I'm fine with that. In fact, I'm happy with that. But I guess I'll just ask you this way: does it feel different to you where they're at with Swayman? I mean, I'm not you're not an insider per se, or I'm just saying, do you have a different view, a different feel, a different vibe on it right now? Because it is, again, very, very quiet, and are both sides starting to dig in, or are we still not to the dig in phase just yet?
I think it's too early for things to have changed. Again, 6 days training camp, lots of stuff going on. It's going to be, I think we circle back to it next week when the last couple preseason games are here and you're thinking, okay, how's he going to start the season without playing in a game, right? That's kind of when we might crank things up. Jeremy Swayman wasn't no matter what playing the next two preseason games either way, right? Like even if he was here and if he had signed a deal 2 months ago, he wasn't playing in either of these next two games. So that's I guess where I'm thinking is like, okay, next Tuesday night and he doesn't play and Korpisalo gets the start at home. He plays a full game. You're only a week away from playing Florida. Then it comes back up, but it would be if it happened in the next couple of days, great. But I don't think it's really worth talking about the next few days either.
Gotcha. Any idea where Swayman is working out?
I do want to dig it. I've stayed away from it on purpose. I haven't really asked questions like that, but I am intrigued in that actually. So hopefully we'll get some answers, or I'm surprised it hasn't come out anywhere, or like
maybe he's turned his phone off. I don't know.
Well, I'm assuming he has, but usually, so nowadays no one else turned their phone off. So he's at some rink, he's somewhere, and I'm actually surprised that it hasn't come out. Whether why maybe he's up in Maine and doing skating before with those kind of in a contained spot. But that's the only thing that comes to mind, because if he was in Boston skating somewhere, someone would have outed it, right? Yeah, so absolutely. So I'm not sure. That's a good question, but what I do know is that it's not the same level as what he would be facing at Warrior every day, no matter what. So that's where that couple of games before the season comes into play. It'll be kind of hard to play the defending champions if he signs on Monday and hasn't seen NHL action. So that's when you start counting games not played in the regular season. If it's next week, 10 days from now and he hasn't signed.
Well, we'll try and see if we can get some information.
Yeah, send in the pictures, everybody. Get on the social media thing if you've seen Jeremy skating anywhere.
All right, let's wrap it up with that. This is just a preseason show, just something that we're glad that we can get in here. Again, good effort, much different than it wasn't that they didn't work hard in game one. It was game one.
Just better hockey. It's just better hockey, right? Like all around.
It was better hockey in this one. So now you're game two. So now the Bruins are on the road Thursday and Saturday, and then they're back home Tuesday next week. So a week from tonight, as we sit and record this post game on Tuesday, the 24th. So that's the first. And then the third, they go to Quebec City to play against LA. And then they wrap up the preseason on the 5th. Razor, you and I will do one more, maybe two. We're not sure yet. Let's see, folks. But one more show for sure during preseason. Then we'll have a season preview show that will come out somewhere around October 6th or 7th with the quote-unquote official start of the Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor season. This is kind of unofficial right now. We're just kind of working the kinks out and just getting some things recorded here. But we'll have at least one more show, maybe two here in preseason. And again, we'll keep you updated when we can. If any news breaks, we'll try and chime in with opinions. So Bruins with a win. Nice, not important. What did Brick say? Nobody remembers the results, but they remember who did well. I'm paraphrasing what he said in game, who made strides. I think that's what he said. Geez, my memory is shit right now. It was something to that effect.
Yeah.
And so the Bruins are 1-1
right?
now in the preseason, right?
Yeah, 1-1, 1-1. What were the Bruins? I was thinking of that tonight when we were watching. We got to go, but what's the record the last couple of years? Like no one knows. No.
Oh shit. Yeah. No one. No, I was going to ask you, about your best preseason or your funniest preseason experience or most interesting, but
we'll do it next time. Let me think about it.
Yeah, think about that. Maybe there was a player that came out of nowhere
I played in Toronto and Vancouver, so you can imagine the hype after one preseason game that some of these guys got.
Oh yeah, maybe I could ask you the biggest preseason hype guy that turned it out to be. I don't want to say a bust, but not what.
Yeah, I've got a few in my head, so I'll have more next time.
All right. So we'll do that next time. All right, that's going to wrap up this Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Thank you to Fazenda, RTN, Graciano Construction, and Sparks for being part of our show. We couldn't do it without them, and we greatly appreciate it. We couldn't do it without the big guy, RC, the man behind the screen.
Mid-season form, RC.
Mid-season form, running the graphics, doing everything. And anyways, that's it. It's going to wrap it up. Everybody enjoy your day and enjoy your coffee.